Hey, what's up guys, it's Darius, and I've been using iPhone 12 as my main phone for about 4 months now, and this is my full review. Let me start with the price, as that is obviously the reason why you're interested in the 12 and not the iPhone 12 Pro. iPhone 12 actually got a price bump, but the difference between it and the Pro model is not as pronounced anymore. With iPhone 11, the difference between it and the Pro model was quite significant. Not only did you get a telephoto camera, you also got a much better, much higher resolution display with smaller bezels and an OLED compared to an LCD. With iPhone 12, that is no longer the case. You get the same incredible high-res Dolby Vision OLED panel as on the Pro models with the small bezels, and they're also the same size now. It's a massive upgrade from the iPhone 11. Now the screen is great, it gets very bright, colors are accurate, it's finally an OLED now, and you can watch HDR content. The only thing letting it down is the lack of a high refresh rate. Like on the Pro, it only runs at 60 Hz, and it's weird because I would only expect the 120 Hz to be on the Pro model, but then again, the 12 is still a very expensive device, and if it were an Android without high refresh rate, it would be unacceptable. Oh, and by the way, the speakers are incredible. I'd say only bested by the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now the massive notch is still there, which is not ideal. It does house Face ID, which works quite well, but only if you're not wearing a mask. And the countless times I had to type in my PIN code because it just wouldn't recognize my face was just so annoying. I wish it had a fingerprint scanner. So then the only real difference between the regular 12 and the Pro model is that telephoto camera. And to be honest, it's not a massive deal, but it would be nice to have it sometimes. The lack of zoom is definitely noticeable, but then again, the telephoto on the Pro model is only a 2x, so it doesn't do that much. Any other device with a proper telephoto camera though beats it by a mile, and zoom quality is definitely lacking. Generally, the camera quality is great. I'd say it's one of the best out there. I made a whole extensive camera test with the best smartphone cameras out there. Link is up here, go check that out if you're interested. It just has a regular wide and an ultra wide, both at 12 megapixels, but they perform really well. Shots are very sharp with good dynamic range, colors are nice, but they're more on the warmer side. And I feel like the ultra wide is also much improved. In low light, the night mode does a good job, which by the way also now finally works on the ultra wide, but you have to keep very still for it to not come out shaky. That happened quite often, to be honest. In terms of video quality, it's definitely the best out there. I've shot full videos on the iPhone 12 and it looks incredible. New is Dolby Vision HDR video, which looks great if you have the compatible screen for it, which the iPhone conveniently has, but 99% of other devices don't. Using the camera definitely takes a toll on the battery. Luckily though, iPhone 12's battery life is very impressive. It only has a less than 3000 mAh battery capacity, but it lasts and lasts. I've done quite a few battery tests and the iPhone pretty much always won. Now it only has a 60 Hz panel while the others usually run at high refresh rates. Still, it's impressive nonetheless. Now the A14 Bionic chip is very optimized and quite power efficient, although it's also very powerful, so if you use some intense apps like some 3D gaming or some AR stuff, it will drain the battery quite a lot. In day-to-day tasks though, it always got me through a regular day, no problem. While battery life is very good, charging on the other hand is not. It's very mediocre. It only has 20 watts fast charging and no charging brick in the box anymore. And the cable it comes with is Lightning to USB-C, not USB-A. So most people will have to end up buying the very expensive new charging brick from Apple. Thanks for that. The new MagSafe is fairly convenient, but it's also very expensive. It's probably not worth it in my eyes, as you also need Apple's fast charging brick for it to work at full speed. And there's no reverse wireless charging either. If you happen to catch Apple's presentation of iPhone 12, you may have noticed that it has
5G, 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 5G,
5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G,
5G and 5G.
5G, 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 5G,
5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G, 5G,
5G, 5G.
5G, 5G.
now. I've not actually used 5G on my phone yet because my plan just doesn't support it yet. Other tests have shown that it's mainly limited by the coverage, so I can't really comment on that much. I personally don't really care that it has 5G, but you probably want to keep your iPhone 12 for a long time, so it's good that it has it. 5G does add a little cost to the phone. As I mentioned in the beginning, it did get a slight price bump. Unfortunately, the base model still only has 64 gigabytes of internal storage, which is definitely not enough, especially for this price. But in fact, let's talk about the actual hardware itself. I really like the design. The sharp corners, reminiscent of iPhone 5, were a bit unfamiliar, but over time I've grown to really like them. The colors are nice too, but I definitely prefer the ones on the Pros. In the hand, it feels incredibly solid and premium, especially with that perfectly flat display. It feels like a brick. No creaks, no nothing. And with those sharp corners, it's not that slippery either compared to some phones with rounded corners. And speaking of which, if you do happen to drop your phone, it is quite durable. Now my device is basically flawless, but I also used a screen protector and these awesome cases by Unique, which are also sponsoring this video. They have a bunch of different cases for your iPhone or Samsung Galaxy, from minimal to really tough. I've got a bunch here and I'm more of a minimal case kind of guy, so I prefer the Airfender or Clarion case, which by the way is also rated to survive 10 feet drops. If you're picking up a new iPhone, I highly recommend the cases from Unique. They offer worldwide shipping, and with code Darius15 you get 15% off your order. Link is down below. Moving on with the review though, performance is incredible. It has the fastest mobile chip out there and it feels incredibly snappy, as it should. It handles everything I throw at it without any issues. Unfortunately, as I already mentioned, it does not have a high refresh rate display, and therefore the phone with the fastest CPU does not feel like the fastest smartphone. A OnePlus or Pixel or Samsung with a high refresh rate display feels much snappier in day-to-day tasks. Now generally performance was great, but I did have two issues. First, RAM management unfortunately is quite poor. When I'm in YouTube and then switch to two different apps and then go back to YouTube, it has to reload the whole app, which is not great. The Pro model has 2 gigs more RAM, so it might not be an issue on that, but I can't really confirm that. The other thing were some minor hiccups I had. A few times I had to force close WhatsApp or YouTube because it just was stuck and wouldn't react anymore, but I'd say it's more of a software bug than a raw performance issue. In fact, let's talk about the software. I quite like iOS 14. You finally have widgets and an app gallery. Of course, all of your Apple features are also present. My favorites are AirDrop and Handoff. The rest is quite basic. If you used an iPhone before, you'll feel right at home. And me switching from Android was not a big deal. At first, some things were unfamiliar, but with time you do get used to them. Software updates were fairly regular, most of which were just some bug fixes. Apple is known to have a great track record when it comes to software updates. I'd expect around 5 years of software updates, which is great. So that means you can definitely keep your phone for a long time. To conclude, iPhone 12 is a great smartphone. 4 months later, it's held up quite nicely, as it obviously should. Performance is as good as on day one, and most bugs were fixed with software updates, although a few still remain. Battery life is very good, although charging is only mediocre, and you probably have to spend some more money on charging stuff like a charging brick or MagSafe or something like that. The camera is one of the best in class, although if you zoom a lot, it's probably not for you. And the display is incredible as well, but again, only limited to 60 Hz. Having used it for a few months now, I can definitely recommend iPhone 12. The price is still a little high, especially for 64 gigabytes, but if you can get a deal on it, it'll be a great buy for sure. Check out the link in the description below for the most up-to-date prices, and I'll also leave links to all the other iPhone 12 videos I made, including a bunch of battery tests. And while you're down there, make sure to smash the like button and hit subscribe and the notification bell to not miss any of my upcoming videos. If you're interested in iPhone 12 mini or the iPhone 12 Pro Max, you don't want to miss these videos right here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.